Monday, November 20th. I'm your host, Sarah Beal. On today's show, we meet Katie Downer. She's the Military and Veterans Advisory and Counselor at Cape Cod Community College. Then we'll hear from Merrill Blum. He's the chair of the Barnstable Disability Commission. And finally, our Barnstable Public Schools piece this week is highlighting the Barnstable High School Drama Club's production of High School Musical. But first, let's get a look at today's top headlines. A reminder from the Harbor Master's office to all boaters. Unless a vessel owner obtains written permission from staff for a proven need and that the vessel is actively being used, no vessel shall be stored or placed on any town property between November 15th and April 15th. Any vessel remaining between those dates shall be considered abandoned property under the regulation. The town of Barnstable is not responsible for loss of property considered abandoned under this regulation. The DPW will be installing a new four-way stop at Strawberry Hill Road at Old Craigville Road in Centerville. This work is tentatively scheduled for the week of November 20th, subject to weather. Advanced warning signs will be installed, as well as temporary red flags and reflective strips on the signpost to alert drivers to the new stop where there were none before. Stop signs exist on Old Craigville Road, and those signs will be modified to alert drivers of the all-way stop. The Town of Barnstable's Public Health Division will hold a flu clinic at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center on Thursday, December 7th from 2 to 4 p.m. The clinic is open to town residents only, and the fee is just $3. For more information, you can call the Health Division at 508-862-4644. Up next, Katie Downer from Cape Cod Community College. Katie, thank you so much for joining us today. You work at Cape Cod Community College in Veteran Services. You yourself are a vet. Let's talk a little bit about that at first before we get started, because I think it gives you a unique experience to help the vets that go to Cape Cod Community College. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yep, so when I was 18 years old, this was back in August of 2002, I enlisted in the United States Air Force right out of high school. I served for a little over 5 years, including a deployment to Iraq in 2005. When I left the military, I went back to college. I did my bachelor's in Quincy at Eastern Nazarene College in music performance, and I did my master's degree at Lesley University in Cambridge in expressive therapies. I've been working as a counselor for probably a little over 5 years now. And I currently work at the college as the advisor and counselor for the students who are current military, former military, and beneficiaries using GI Bill benefits.
That's great. So let's talk a little bit about the services that are offered at 4Cs for veterans, because I know there's quite a few different things. So where would you like to start?
I guess I'll start with the GI Bill. That's what people think about first when we talk about veterans education benefits. So there's the Montgomery GI Bill, which most people are familiar with. However, it has had some changes over the years. So currently, we're administering the Chapter 33, which is the post 9/11 GI Bill. This is the one that almost all veterans qualify for, especially if they were active duty. Previously, you had 15 years following your honorable discharge to utilize these benefits. However, now they've changed it. The post 9/11 GI Bill now has no expiration for anybody leaving active duty after January 1st of 2013. It's called the Forever GI Bill.
That's amazing.
Yes, it's very cool.
Yeah.
So, it used to be veterans, if they didn't get in within that 10 or 15-year window to use their benefits at a college, the benefits would essentially terminate, and they couldn't access them anymore. Now they can wait for 40 years following separation before they go back to school, and those benefits will always be there.
That's amazing. It gives them a chance to, I know a lot of people when they get out of the service, they go right into work. They might not have the time to add going to college into their lives at that point. So that's great that they can access that at any time.
Right, and you factor in a lot of veterans, they start families while they're in the military, so they've got young children at home. On top of trying to figure out what direction to go in following the military, a lot of times we see with veterans, when they separate from the military, there aren't always civilian equivalent jobs for them, so they have a hard time figuring out what to do next. To give you an example, I myself was a weapons system specialist on fighter jets, so I learned how to load ordnance onto fighter jets and maintain the weapons system. So when I got out of the military, I wasn't really sure what to be when I grow up.
Right.
So
that doesn't really correlate into civilian life.
So it took me a shorter amount of time to figure that out, but for a lot of vets, it takes them a long time to figure it out. Some of the other great programs that we offer at the college kind of revolve around disabilities. So a lot of the times veterans get out of the military and they have some kind of service-connected disability, whether they were physically wounded, mentally wounded, PTSD, traumatic brain injuries. So the college actually has a lot of really great disability services and programs that veterans also qualify for. So on top of getting their educational benefits, they can go and attain services with our O'Neill Center for Disabilities, which provides wonderful accommodations and plans for students to kind of manage whatever kinds of disabilities they're struggling with so that they can still be successful in their coursework. We also have a program called TRIO, which is a grant-funded program. It's federally funded, and what it does is it supports students who fall under certain eligibility criteria. And on top of the Disability Center services, we also provide professional tutoring, we provide career counseling, we provide a lot of extra tools that they might need if they needed a graphing calculator, if they needed access to a computer or a printer. We provide a lot of extra supports. I actually think they're going to be coming and doing a segment for your show.
Yeah,
so
probably.
I'll let them tell you about it. But it's really great because what's really great about the fact that my office works with the O'Neill Center for Disability Services and the TRIO office is that we kind of form this all-encompassing support service for the veterans to make sure that they're successful despite anything that they might be wrestling with on a day-to-day basis.
Wow, that's amazing that you offer all of that right here at Cape Cod Community College.
Yes.
That's so important and so wonderful. I know that anybody who's looking for information can go right on the capecod.edu and look under student services, and that's where you're located on the website. And is there anything else you want to make sure our viewers are aware of?
I'm trying to rebolster the Veterans Club that we had at the college. The club used to do a lot of different functions when it first started, taking trips. I know they took a trip down to DC to visit, the National Cemetery and all those other great things down there. So right now I'm trying to re-inspire that group and try to pull some people together so that we can start giving back to the community. Something that's common among all military members and veterans is that we have this sense of service and dedication in our hearts. It's just something that we love to do is serve, and so I'm really hoping that I can get this Veterans Club active again so that we can continue to serve our community in which we live. We also have the Veterans Lounge. The college donated this space to the veterans so that while they're on campus, if they need a quiet place to study or grab a cup of coffee, they can swing by and hang out. We have really comfortable couches. We have a computer in case they need to jump on the computer. And I have tons and tons and tons of different local community resources for veterans, such as Hydrea for Heroes, Heroes in Transition, the Cape and Islands Veterans Center, the Outreach Center. I try to make sure that all my veterans know about the benefits that they are eligible for outside of education benefits. If they're eligible for health benefits, dental benefits, if they're looking for scholarships, or if they need any kind of financial assistance with their own family units. I do my best to help them resource and problem solve those situations when they arise.
That's wonderful. Where exactly are you located on campus?
I'm located in the Wilkins Library on the 2nd floor, and there's a sign that says Veteran Services, and it's really huge, so you can't miss it.
Perfect. Great. Well,
Yes.
I hope that some of our viewers, will come down and see you or give you a call. I really appreciate you coming in and telling us all about what you guys do.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you. My guest today is Katie Downer. She's the Military and Veterans Advisor and Counselor at Cape Cod Community College. Coming up, we'll hear about the BHS performance of High School Musical. But first, let's meet the chair of the Disability Commission, Meryl Blum. Meryl, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to talk about the Disability Commission. So let's start with, what exactly is the Disabilities Commission?
Disability Commission is made up of 10 people at the moment whose function is to advise the town councils on matters relating to ADA, along with we do some funding of 501c3s. And we're about two things, actually. One is access, and the other is awareness.
Wonderful.
And those are our major functions.
That's great. How did you get involved with Disability Commission?
I've been on other areas. I've served on other commissions or committees. I started out when we moved here about 13 years ago on the Human Services Committee, and then into affordable housing. And when I retired, about the time I was getting retired, there were some spots open on the Disabilities Commission. My wife has a disability, so it just seemed something that I was gravitated to, and I've enjoyed being on it now for almost 6 years.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really great. I know you guys do some really great work. And when you say ADA, that's the Americans with Disabilities Act, correct?
That's correct. Originally formulated in 1990, and it's had some subsequent revisions, 2008, 2015, and court decisions have changed it periodically.
Wonderful. And you guys have done a lot of work. You gave me a list here of some things that you guys have worked on. So let's go over a couple of these. I know one of the big things that you have the guide over there. You did the Accessible Dining Guide. I know that was a few years ago. It's a wonderful tool.
Yeah, we publish this every couple of years. Where we're starting to work on a 2018 version of it. And essentially it has to do with access and facilities within restaurants, mainly in the downtown Hyannis area, Main, North, and South Streets. It's just a guide for residents as well as tourists. We pay for it, obviously, out of our funds, and it gives the populace that comes in during the tourist season. And we get a number of people that are handicapped that come into town, so it gives them an idea where they go where they won't have barriers to the facilities.
That's wonderful. You've also done some work with handicap parking and placards and plates, so let's talk a little bit about that.
Glad you brought that up.
Yes, I know, that's a big one.
Yeah, that's our major function, one of our major functions at the moment. We're working with the parking and coordinator now, and we're working on striping and signage. Signage is a big thing. They've changed signage recently. So we're working with them on those areas that need to be amended, as it were. The other thing that we're working on is we've just completed the surveys on the beaches. And we are working with the new town engineer, and we will be adjusting, or they will be adjusting the areas in which we'll have access to handicap parking. So that's a major area for us. Along with a segue into that are the placards and license plates. It's come to light recently that the number of people are receiving, if you're not parking correctly, you're going to get tagged. We have a couple of parking administrators that survey parking areas. If you're not parked correctly, or your placard is not displayed properly, you will get tagged. So it has to be suspended from your mirror, and there is a date of expiration, as well as there's a photo on it which is covered for privacy reasons. So there's a number and there's a date of expiration on it. And that has to be displayed so the parking administrators can view it readily. Another thing that has occurred, or does occur, that in parking there will people that will stray over into these striped areas. And those are there for a reason. They're two striped areas. One is a 5-foot area, which is between parking locations, parking handicapped spaces. And then there's one for vans, and that's an 8-foot space. And if you can imagine being in a van and you have a power lift and you can't get out of your van because someone is parked over that striped area, then that's an issue. So you will get tagged. It's something that people should be more aware of, that those features are there for safety reasons and for access reasons.
What else is there that the Barnstable Disability Commission has worked on that you want to make sure people are understanding of and aware of?
Okay. Some of the things that we have done in the last year or so, as I say, we do some 501c3s who come in for funding. This year we have funded a program for Sail Cape Cod. We tentatively have targeted some funds for signage and striping for the town through the parking coordinator's position. We just granted Cord $2,000 for their mobile food pantry.
Oh, wonderful.
In the past, we have put up money for the Enoch Cobb Early Learning Center for the playground equipment. It was kind of a leveraged area where we put up some money, the LaRusso Fund put up some money, and one of the banks put up some money. And that's really a terrific program, you know, for kids. We had done a lot for, and the reasoning behind it was we had done a lot for older individuals, but nothing for our younger generation. So when this came about, I think starting in 2015, it was brought up. We said, gee, that's a natural for us to take a position in. So we did put up $35,000, and all the playground equipment was purchased through that grant. We have funded the Challenger program a couple of times. We just paid for last season's, most of last season's softball program. So we granted them $5,000 for that program. We also have paid for path mats, which is access to the beach at Sandy Neck. We did one at Millway, and we had like a matching grant with Dowse's Beach out in Katuitt. The other thing is that just came about is we have a diagram for a new access to the boardwalk at Colville's Beach, a new ramp. We also, you know, in our survey process, we also try and, you know, be a consultant to either the town or to businesses or whatever institution that needs assistance with becoming compliant with ADA regs. And we, in the process, we use what they call AAB, which is Architectural Access Board rules and regulations. There's a federal set of regulations, there's a local set, municipal set, and then there's the state, which is the Massachusetts AAB. We tend to look more closely and be more observant with the state rules and regulations. And they're great help. We are also connected with what they call MOD, which is the Mass Office on Disability. We actually hosted a meeting for them at the Youth Center, which is where we hold our meetings, in August. They came to us earlier in this year and asked us to hold a meeting. We wound up with almost 40 commissioners from the South Coastal area attending, which was kind of nice. It was a good meeting.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, I want to let people know when you guys meet. You guys are meeting actually this Wednesday.
That's correct.
At the, like you said, the Hanging Youth Community Center. You meet at, is it 10 a.m.?
10 a.m., 10 to 12. Sometimes it runs a little bit longer depending upon what we have. We usually have a pretty full agenda. We also have a meeting. Again, as I indicated earlier, we try to have somebody from the town. We have Brian Florence that's going to be attending our meeting, who's the new building commissioner.
Oh, wonderful.
Last month we had Elizabeth Jenkins, because we've been working on a major, every town is required to have what they call a self-evaluation transition plan. Every 7 years it has to be revised. Well, the last one was 2010, which means that 2017 is a revision year. So we've been working with planning and development on revising the self-evaluation and revision plan. So Elizabeth was there, and a couple of her people were there.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us all about everything that you guys are doing in the Disability Commission. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate all the hard work that you guys do.
Thank you for having me. It was enjoyable.
Well, thank you. My guest today is Merrill Blum. He's the chair of the Barnstable Disability Commission.
Hello, I'm Mackenzie Connor, intern for Channel 18. Today we have Barnstable High School seniors Matt Geiler and Maddie Lamoth joining us to talk about the newest production of High School Musical. Thank you so much for meeting with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So can you tell me a little bit about your roles in the play and how it all started?
Well, I'm playing Ryan Evans, and
Oh, I'm playing Gabriela Montez, and it basically started as kind of like a little joke between the juniors mostly. I think the seniors were gone at that point, but we kind of really wanted to do this show because we knew it would get us a lot of attention and it would kind of make us a lot of money, and it would be really fun to do just as like a really fun fall show in place of a haunted house. So we asked Billard, and he was like, of course we can do that, but it was all up to us to do everything. So I co-directed, and Matt was assistant to the director. You're also paint lead.
I also paint lead, so I helped design the set and design the paint for the set.
Nice. So what does it look like being a director for the show?
It was deceptively hard to do. It's a really energetic show, and we wanted to not carbon copy the characters, but we wanted to let everyone see the show, like the movie on stage. So it was really tricky getting everyone to kind of, because we have a lot of new actors, so we had to get everyone kind of on the same page. A lot of people were learning stuff. We have a lot of dancing in this. So it was hard, but it was really rewarding. I'm really proud of how it's going to look on stage.
So what do rehearsals and like dress rehearsals look like?
So rehearsals usually start at like 2 o'clock, 2:30, and they usually run until about 5 o'clock. This week, it's a little different though, because we have a lot of moving parts. We have the band, we have getting into hair, makeup, costuming, miking yourself up. And so that call for that is usually at 4 o'clock, and that usually runs to about 8-ish. And we're doing that all week until opening.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So where do you get all your costumes for the show?
It kind of depends. Thankfully, a lot of the costumes for the show are like pedestrian high school students. So a lot of the things we could bring in ourselves. But like these jerseys that I'm wearing right now, we had to order ourselves. And I actually was the one who handled that order. We bought them from Advanced Embroidery in Hyannis. And that was very a worthwhile purchase because they look great on stage. And yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of thrift shopping.
Yeah.
It was a lot of thrift shopping in order to find, like, we tried to replicate exactly what Gabriella wore, almost. I think I did an okay job.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of collecting things, and then we found stuff from the costume closet, and it was just a lot of combining, like, little items in order to make a better costume.
Yeah.
So are you guys finally excited to put all your hard work to play?
It's going to be so much fun to perform this show.
Yeah, the band sounds really good. Everyone's really excited. The dances look great. So I'm really excited for everyone to come see it.
Nice. And when are the productions?
It opens November 17th, and it runs until November 25th, with shows on the 17th, the 18th, and the 24th and 25th at 7. And then we have 2 matinees on the 19th and the 25th at 2.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming in today. Good luck with the play.
Thank you.
And today we have senior Joellen Phillips and sophomore Hannah Bertling here to talk about the Barnstable High School production of High School Musical. So are you guys excited for the show?
Oh, I'm so excited. The show's a lot of fun. It has so much energy.
I know, I'm very excited.
What are your roles in the show?
So I play Troy Bolton. He's like the star of the basketball team in his high school. He's a big jock guy, played by Zac Efron in the movie.
Nice.
I'm the production stage manager.
So what are your responsibilities?
So I control traffic backstage, make sure everyone is where they need to be and there's nobody in the way, and I make sure the set pieces get on and off stage on time and in an orderly fashion.
So you do all like the back scenes kind of stuff?
Yeah.
And she does a great job.
Good.
Oh,
What is your role?
So Troy Bolton, he's like a big basketball star. This is my first musical, so it's been pretty challenging, like getting into the role, and you know, I don't have a dance background or like a real acting background. This is my first big show, so like it's been a huge challenge, but it's a lot of fun. It's a very exciting show.
Nice. So what do your rehearsals and like run-throughs look like?
Well, up until these past 2 weeks, they've been starting at 2 and going to 5, and we usually will take a couple days for acting and dancing and singing, and we'll try to cycle those and make sure we get everything down. But the past 2 weeks, we've been going from 5 to around 4 to 8. And we've been doing full run-throughs of the show with each cast.
That's a huge commitment.
Yeah, it's been a little different.
It's draining, but it's a lot of fun.
So it's been a little different for backstage. While they were at rehearsals, we'd be back in the shop building. We've built this whole thing.
Wow.
Took a lot of time and a lot of work, but everyone was really good. And then past 2 weeks, we've started full run-throughs, and while they're acting, we're backstage getting everything ready to go out and off, and it's been okay.
Very good. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming in. Good luck with the show.
Thanks so much.
Now we'll get our BHS update from Channel 18 intern Mackenzie Connor.
Hello, I'm Mackenzie Connor, intern for Channel 18. There's a lot happening at Barnstable High School this week. Spirit Week is a time for Raiders to show their school spirit, and continues this week with today being Tie-Dye Day and tomorrow Red Raider Day. Thanksgiving break for faculty and students begins Wednesday, November 22nd, and they return to school Monday the 27th. For seniors, the Scholarship Bulletin number 4 is available in school counseling and house offices. After all their hard work, the Barnstable High School Drama Club is proud to present the first production of Disney's High School Musical in the Performing Arts Center. For dates and tickets and information, please visit www.bhsdc.org. For those planning on playing a winter sport, there is a mandatory impact concussion baseline test. If it has been more than 2 years, or if you have never taken it, the baseline test is required and can be found on the BHS website. That's all for today. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for watching. I'm Mackenzie Connor.
Thanks for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow with an all-new show. On tomorrow's show, we'll get an airport update from Airport Manager Bud Brielt, and we'll also learn all about the Senior Center's Turkey Trot program, bringing seniors a Thanksgiving meal. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Beal.